Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Lee from Bukit Mentajam, now staying in Kluang Johor. So for this session, I'm going to discuss or rather share with you problems that are faced by students of SJKC and SJKT concerning Bahasa Melayu UASA. So as we all know, UASA is different from UPSR, which I mentioned before this, in the sense that the questions are separately set. Meaning to say, for SJKC and SJKT, they have different sets of Bahasa Melayu, and they are not the same, especially the level and the format of the SK. Because for SK, UPSR, Bahasa Melayu, it is the first language. For SJKC and SJKT, they are Bahasa Melayu is the second language because they are studying in vernacular schools whereby their mother tongue, they learn in their mother tongue. So now we have UASA, which is very much different from this UPSR because UASA is for Bahasa Melayu. SK, SJKC and SJKT will be sitting for the same paper in the sense that same format, same standard. That means although SJKC and SJKT are vernacular schools, although they study in their mother tongue, for Bahasa Melayu, they have to sit for this paper as the first language, not the second language anymore, like UPSR in the past. So meaning to say, students in SJKC and SJKT will be facing a lot of challenges because Bahasa Melayu is no more equivalent to their standard but much higher, the same as SK or Malay medium schools. So we know that in SJKC, Bahasa Cina or the Chinese language is the first language. So when it is the first language, the standard is high because the whole environment, everyone is learning every subject in Bahasa Cina or the Chinese language. So naturally, the standard will be high. So in SK, what happens? SK is medium, the medium is Bahasa Melayu. So the standard for first language standard is high. For SJKC Tamil, Tamil is the mother tongue. They learn everything in Tamil. So of course, Tamil will be, Bahasa Tamil will be high, the standard. And now they have one more, Bahasa Melayu. So in other words, Bahasa Melayu is one language for all. So we do not separate the papers anymore. Okay, although the papers are set and it's a bank of questions whereby schools can take the questions from there, the standard is the same. So that means all primary school students will be sitting for the same standard Bahasa Melayu, same format. So challenges will be there, difficulties will be there. What my meaning is SJKC and SJKT, and problems will be there. Something that we have to know, like what I'm going to share with you today. What are the problems that students of SJKC and SJKT face? So before this, I didn't put the colon here, so it looks like SJKC and SJKT problems. Actually, no, actually it's the students who face problems. So I'm sorry about that for the for my Chinese Chinese language and Bahasa Melayu. I didn't I didn't put the colon and I didn't notice. So actually it's over already. I've already uploaded. So I'm sorry about that. We are talking about the problems faced by SJKC, SJKT students concerning Bahasa Melayu and not the problem of the schools. Okay. Now, concerning the problems faced by students, I look up in the internet. Of course, I need to study. I can't just just talk like this, you see. So I look up and I searched in the internet concerning problems faced by students, primary school students in SJKC and SJKT. And then I studied, from what I read, I studied, then I did my own analysis. I thought about it, and plus my own experience. I have more than 30 years or more than 35 years of teaching experience, and all this while I've been teaching in Chinese independent schools. So I taught actually Bahasa Melayu and Bahasa English. So all this while I have been in touch, and I have been teaching Bahasa Melayu and Bahasa and English as well. So I combine all together, and today I share with every one of you here. So my research is based on the internet, what I read on the internet, the information from the internet, and then combine it with my own concepts, my way of thinking, what I read and I analyze. Okay, so firstly, we know that UASA is it has 4 sections A, B, C, D, and 4 sections are based on reading and writing. So for both writing and reading, students face problems. Okay, and you know, especially for part C and part D, whereby they need to write you know, they are on their own. Okay, like bahagian C, part C, they have to write their idea. What do you think? And then they have to answer what they think. So their answers must be creative, logical, and rational. So they are given situations like bahagian C, part C. They are given situations like, you saw your friend crying, or your friend fall down, you know, your friend fell down. You saw your friend, and actually she was already, or he was already crying, and the result was due to a fall. So as her friend or his classmate, what would you do? So you say, oh, in my opinion, I will do this, I will do that. So it's based on creativity, but not imagination. Okay, imagination means to say giving answers that are, you know, illogical. No, answers must be logical and rational as well. So for that, students face problems because as second language users in SJKC and SJKT, many of the students are unable to create sentences. You know, it's difficult for them to make sentences, you know, to answer the question, to present their point of view, to present their ideas, because usually mistakes come from what you call structure. Structure, we call it syntaxis. Okay, so the problem is that they are unable to create sentences with what we call in Bahasa Melayu ayat gramatis. So it must be correct grammatically and structurally. Structure means to say where the head is, where the stomach is, and where the tail is. So for a Chinese educated student, or Tamil, I don't know any Tamil, so I will just talk about Chinese language. So for Chinese language, sentences in the Chinese language and Bahasa Melayu are actually the opposite. Okay, so like for a Chinese medium school student, I go to school every day. So saya pergi ke sekolah setiap hari, or setiap hari saya pergi ke sekolah. But the thing is, for SJKC, they would in Mandarin or in the Chinese language is actually I every day go to school in Mandarin. 我每天去上课. That means that every day is actually the stomach. But for Bahasa Melayu, the word every day is in the beginning or the end, just like English. So this is the problem with this is the problem that students of the second language face, because they have to switch language. But they have a tendency to translate. So they are not allowed. Actually, they should not translate. They can translate. They can think in the second language and translate into the first language, but structurally it must be correct. It means you must move the stomach to the head or move the stomach to the tail, then it is correct. So that is one problem faced by these SJKC students. SJKT I wouldn't comment because I don't know any Tamil. Okay, now another problem is a lack of vocabulary, lack of words. We like to say to students, you don't have enough words. So to form sentences, to form an essay, you don't have enough vocabulary. Your bank of words is not enough. So that is a big problem, especially words that are of a higher level, more difficult words. So we call it kosakata or perbendaharaan kata. In Bahasa Melayu we say terhad. It's limited for SJKC students, and I'm sure SJKT students face the same problems as well. And you know, to really reach up to the standard of SK is quite a challenge as well, because that means to say you need to use a lot of difficult words, which Chinese educated students find it a problem. Okay, so the next problem that is faced by many students is the difficulty of writing in Bahasa Melayu. We say karangan respons terbuka. Okay, and you know, they really struggle, especially in bahagian D, where they have to write essays, either a formatted essay or a non-formatted essay. So non-formatted essay will be based on stories, your own experience. So students find it difficult because actually when we look at a student or anyone's what do I call, essay, if the student is writing in short sentences, maybe 6 words or 5 words, you know, seldom reaching to 7, 8, 9 or even 10 words, then we would say that this student's level standard is low, so unable to create long sentences. So to really reach up to the level of SK, students do face the problems of how to, Melayu say, kembangkan or elaborate, or writing longer sentences by using conjunctions like dan, kerana, atau. So it's actually 2 sentences in one. So in that situation, the sentences will become long, and there you can see the standard. Okay, or walaupun, you know, although, all these words. So 2 sentences, short ones like 5 words and 5 words, combined with dan, for example, or atau, or kerana, then you can have about 11 words per sentence. But these SJKC and SJKT students find it difficult because they are using Bahasa Melayu all the time as a second language. Then we go to another problem where SJKC, SJKT students, many of them face this problem of being unable to answer questions with mengapa, whereby you have to kembangkan, you have to, you know, elaborate, or bagaimana, how to do it. I'm sure they have the idea. If they read and they understand, I'm sure they have an idea. They have an idea of how to answer, but in their own language. If it were to be in Bahasa Melayu, then the problem comes. Why? Vocabulary, structure, you know, sentence. So that is one area where we feel that students of SJKC, SJKT, they really face a lot of challenges because they find it hard to answer why and how. Actually, if they were to use it in their own language, like Chinese language or Bahasa Tamil, I'm sure they can do it very well. But to do it in another language, like a foreign language to them, is quite difficult. Although Bahasa Melayu is our official language, my meaning to say, foreign is within inverted commas. My meaning is foreign to them. Okay. Now, this the format of UASA, they require students to give comments and points rationally, logically. I mentioned just now. So you can imagine a situation, and then you have to think of a logical answer, rational answer, and that students find it difficult when they need to write it in Bahasa Melayu, okay, to produce it. And especially answers in subjective form. Objective, they can still find the answers from the comprehension and find the answers. But if the comprehension itself has a lot of high level words in Bahasa Melayu, and then they are required to write the answers in subjective, especially in KBAT form. I think you know about KBAT, isn't it? KBAT is actually kemahiran berfikir aras tinggi. In English, we call it HOTS, higher order thinking skills. So it is rather difficult for SJKC, SJKT students to use difficult words, long sentences, writing in the correct structure, and then having to use their own, not their own, but a deep analysis to analyze the questions. Okay, like just now I mentioned, say a student has fallen down. You are the friend. A friend of yours forgot to bring his pocket money or her pocket money, and is hungry and is standing at the canteen. What would you do? So yes, you have to think, oh, I will do this, I will do that. Yes, and then produce it in Bahasa Melayu. That is quite a challenge. And not only that, their answers must be logical. You can't give an answer whereby it's impossible to do. Okay, so students are required to think, how would I help this student? And I must be able to, my answers must be something that can be done. It cannot be something that cannot be done. Like say, oh, I will phone his mother and call his mother to come to school and give him the money. Then the question would arise, you see, where are you going to get a telephone? And then, it would be better to be more rational, like I will share my food with him or her. Okay, that's very good because it has moral values. Or I will lend him my money. Or I will get someone to lend him money. If you would like to elaborate, maybe you say, I always bring enough money. Or you can just say, I bring food to school, so I eat half and I give the other half to my friend. Something that is logical, something that is rational. Okay, so that again is quite a challenge. And the next problem I would like to discuss or to share with everyone over here is that one big problem that is faced by vernacular schools is that they do not have the environment for Bahasa Melayu. So it's very hard to develop the language. Or I was teaching in Chinese independent schools, several schools in Sabah and in here, Peninsular Malaysia. And I understand the situation very well. Because environment, see? So if you are in this SJKC, okay? I mentioned just now, SJKC means to say all forms of communication, instructions, just like you say when the teacher tells the students what to do. Questions, when teachers question students, during assembly, announcements are made, questions are asked by teachers and by friends, talking, chatting, discussing, all in Bahasa Cina, the Chinese language, and here all in Bahasa Tamil. So it is very difficult to study in an environment where it is fully your mother tongue, and then to be able to do another language or to answer another language using a higher level. That indeed is a challenge, truly. So they don't have the environment. That means normally they don't use Bahasa Melayu. It's only during Bahasa Melayu period that they actually learn Bahasa Melayu. And that, I would say that although there are some, but let us talk about most. Most schools, like SJK schools, will be using Chinese teachers to teach Bahasa Melayu. So they will be teaching Bahasa Melayu using the Chinese language. The same goes for Tamil schools. It would most likely be an Indian teacher who teaches Bahasa Melayu but explaining and using Bahasa Tamil to explain to the students, and that I understand. Having taught in Chinese independent schools before myself, I truly understand, because if we were to use 100% BM to BM, Bahasa Melayu to Bahasa Melayu, meaning to say you teach Bahasa Melayu and you totally use Bahasa Melayu to explain, many of the students would find it difficult to grasp. They would find it difficult to understand. And instructions given, but they are unable to do it because they don't understand what the teacher was saying. And ultimately, we are worried that students lose interest. So that is another challenge of, students from both these streams, both these systems, face problems faced by them because they don't have the environment to listen, to speak and to communicate, to know the language deeper. And I would say, lastly, in a Chinese medium school or a Tamil medium school, another problem that we can see is little children, are exposed to 3 languages during their school days. Now, I think most of us here would know how difficult it is even to master one language. Little children having to master 3 languages, and 2 of them are the first language level. So meaning to say, like SJKC, the Chinese language will be high level, and then added with UASA Bahasa Melayu, same as SK, high level. We can imagine how difficult it is. And then at the same time, they have to learn English. So this is another challenge, even for adults, even for anyone who anyone at all. It is not easy at all to master 3 languages. So this is another challenge. And 2 of the languages are using the highest level, the first language level. So this is indeed another problem faced by vernacular schools. Okay. Now, of course, like myself, for example, I was educated. I did not study kindergarten. I don't know what kindergarten is like. I directly went to year 1 in convent, Bukit Mentajam. So, convent of the Holy Infant Jesus. And I was exposed to English and Bahasa Melayu too. So I have never studied in my life Bahasa Cina. I know how to speak Bahasa Cina. I understand Bahasa Cina, but I do not know how to read. I do not know how to write, because in secondary school, I was in SM convent as well. So I studied a total of 11 years fully English, because at that time, when I entered year 1, many of the nuns, the sisters of Europe and the Western countries were still in Malaya. Okay, they had not left, or in Malaysia, so they had not left. Our teachers were, most of my teachers were sisters. Okay, my principal was a sister herself, so I was exposed to 2 languages. Today I'm using these 2 languages, I'm teaching, but Mandarin I used to explain, but I do not know how to read, how to write. And I learned Mandarin because I was teaching in a Chinese independent schools. So I was exposed to a Chinese environment, very Chinese. So students talk to me, teachers talk to me, I go to the canteen, I go here, go there, all using the Chinese language or Mandarin. So that's how I pick up Mandarin. So I'm able to, to teach and to explain in Mandarin. Unfortunately, I'm not able to read or write. So during meetings, some of my principals were very kind. They told other teachers to sit next to me to explain, because I can understand normal spoken English, Mandarin, or the Chinese language, but if it is a formal Chinese language, I'm not able to understand. I cannot understand. Like in the news, when they use Mandarin to read the news, and I watch, I don't understand. I find it very hard because it's very formal. That's why I can relate to students in SJKC. I feel that they are so clever. They are able to 3 languages. They are able to. So, but I think that generally it should be a problem. It can't be that smooth. But then I have my trust and my confidence in all the SJKC, SJKT, and of course SK teachers. I have my trust and my confidence in them. I know that they are playing their role in upgrading the level of Bahasa Melayu and teaching as according to what is needed during the UASA, so that students are able to answer the question. For that, I fully know that teachers are working very hard for the students, because I'm still teaching now. I'm still giving tuition to students, and they do tell me, my teacher said this, my teacher said that. So I really know that the primary school teachers in our country, I know that they are they are working very hard, and they are teaching, and they are ensuring that all students know how to answer the questions in the correct way. So with that, and with the students themselves working hard, I'm sure that we can achieve. Now, I am an educator. I'm a parent myself. For education, I will not compromise. So I feel that it is okay to give them this level 1 SJKC, SJKT, because our students must understand that it is for their betterment, it is for them, it is for their future. Because many parents do not, I wouldn't use the word do not, but many parents want or prefer their children to directly go to Form 1 without going through peralihan or remove. So because of that, I believe our government has done a lot of homework. They know that parents prefer their children to directly go to Form 1 and not study 1 year of peralihan. So once they come up with this, then it is automatic that we don't even need peralihan. That's what I believe. So our government has played its role as well, especially the education, the Ministry of Education. They have done their part as well. It means they have studied this thing, and they are actually, for me, they are actually doing what parents want, or parents request. That means their children can directly go to Form 1. So if that is to happen, then students, all of you as students, must work together with our government to go along this bridge. This bridge is UASA, Bahasa Melayu, and then go to secondary school if you are choosing government secondary schools. But if you are going to Chinese independent school, you still need Bahasa Melayu, because you are sitting for SPM as well. So it's not something that you can choose not to. You know, you need to learn and you need to do it. And for me, I don't compromise. I believe that it is good to give hard questions, difficult questions, so that, you know, we can allow students to move upwards. It's a push and a motivation for them. So with this, I will close today's session, and I will do the last video whereby I will share with everyone. Again, I do research in the internet. I get my information from the internet, plus my own recommendations on how to solve the problems as I stated just now. Okay, so goodbye everyone. I will see you again in the next video.